Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Clay Township Board. It is Wednesday, July 18th. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mary, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? No public comments. Approval of minutes from the May 16th, 2023 regular meeting of our board. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
And I will second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion will carry 2-0. I do want to point out that Matt Snyder, our other board member, could not make it here tonight, so it's just Mary and me. We have one action item tonight, a resolution 2023-07-18, approving donation and restricted use. Mr. Hensel?
I'm going to defer this to our attorney, Mr. Brosman. Thank you, Mr. Trustee, members of the board. Pleasure to see you all tonight. It's been a little while. This is the fourth of the donation agreements, so I believe the last one, that the board will entertain related to the impact projects. We received a, I believe, $500,000, maybe wrong on these amounts, probably right on the person's, $500,000 contribution from Corson Protection toward the Survive Alive display in the fire headquarters and community center. CTI Construction has donated, I believe it was $250,000 toward that same project, Survive Alive. And then the Carmel Redevelopment Commission has made this is the second of the contributions that the Carmel Redevelopment Commission has made toward the impact project. The first was for the fire headquarters, and the second, this one, is for the Carmel Clay Historical Society Vistas building and the depot. Both these are two separately bid projects that are being administered together, and the CRC has agreed to contribute for the project $350,000 that could be used either for the depot or the headquarters project. And let me refresh your memory as to why these contributions are important and why there's actually a contribution agreement here. A few of these projects, the headquarters and community center and historical society, were right at the limit of what could be bonded without going through a referendum process. And so we have been very careful to follow the statutory provision that says if there is a bona fide contribution without strings attached from a third party toward one of these projects, then it does not count toward the cost of the project for those remonstrance purposes. So it's been very important to structure these in such a way that they are the funds that are received are put into the general fund of the township. There's a notation that they're restricted for this project only, and we've set up a procedure both with the owner's representative, CTI, and with Huntington Bank, who is the trustee on the bond issues, as to documenting those expenditures and having them reimbursed to the construction fund. Long way of reminding you what we've talked about a couple of times over the last year. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Let's have a motion first and then we'll ask questions.
All right.
Do I have a motion for approval of the resolution?
I so move.
And I second. Now, discussion. Mary, any questions?
Well, I just wondered how long it's going to be before we finished with the fire station and the Survive Alive. Do we have dates in mind or no?
So an occupancy certificate has been issued, and I presume the fire department chiefs have moved into that building, although I don't know that for a fact. Is that correct? Yeah. So technically, the building is complete. For occupancy purposes, the Survive Alive portion will continue, and I don't really know what the schedule is on that, Mary. We can find out and let you know.
Good. When are we going to have the roof party to celebrate?
Any other comments, questions? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Thank you, Mr. Hosmer. Information items. We have several this evening. Our first one is Renee Butts from the Carmel Fire Department.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you so much on behalf of the Carmel Fire Department, especially the Public Education Department, for your guys' sponsorship of the Firefighter Third Day Camp. As you know, it is, I'm sure you know, it's an incredibly successful camp. If you aren't familiar with it, it's 4 days long. It's different kids each day. We host about 160 kids each day. They to get divided into 6 different groups, and it is a very fun day that has a lot of energy spent and a lot of so there's some take-home skills that they get to learn, like CPR and how to help a choking patient and about stop the bleed, let alone having fun competitive races. But the highlight of the day is our water ball tournament, which if you are not familiar with that, it is like tug of war. So you've got an elevated cable with a big metal ball in the center, and it's kind of tug of war in the fact that you're using fire hose streams to push the ball back and forth, and that is by far the tournament is the highlight of the day. So each child gets a T-shirt and a drawstring backpack to commemorate the day, and it is a wonderful program if your kid attends for free, and that is mostly we are thankful for your sponsorship because it's without that, without your partnership, our camp would not be nearly as successful without you. And we just want to say thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have on the camp.
How did it work at the new location?
So we did move to the Dad's Club this year. It was fantastic. I can tell you, as a person who sets it up and takes it down, and after working the camp all week long, it was not nearly as exhausting as it is when you're in the blazing sun for 8 hours a day. But in addition, which I did not mention in the thank you letter, we did add an adaptive afternoon. And so on Monday, after setup, we had an open house for people with disabilities that could come and do the camp on their own at their own pace without all the kind of chaos of the regular camp, and it was highly successful. For our first attempt at that, we had 8 people come to the camp and campers, and we received really good feedback from the families. So we're looking to make that also grow next year.
I think that's tremendous. Is there any way we can show these pictures online? And these are pictures from the camp.
Yes, they are. Well, thank you for doing this. You're welcome. Thanks, Jasper. We also need to recognize Dad's Club for their contribution.
100%. It was such a great partnership. They invited us back next year, and we've already rebooked at the same location.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Renee, were your numbers up from last year? Or they keep going up?
So we limited the number of campers because it's a really highly it's a camp that relies on volunteers. It takes about 50 volunteers a day, and so the numbers are about the same. Each day we have there's always a few people that don't show up, so usually like 10 or so, 10, somewhere between 10 and 15, depending. Who knows what happens in everybody's lives, but so they're capped, so they're not the same every year. They can see they were up with our new camp that we added. Any other questions? Well, again, on behalf of public education, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Next information item, update on township assistance. Mr. Hensel?
In your packet, you see we've got our basically our applicants and who we've helped this year, and we've helped 81. We taken 81 applications. We've approved 22, and we've spent basically $29,000 on assistance. And then the second page you have is, oh, it's thought it'd be nice to know who all we're helping in that area, what complex. It's like Governor Square's we've helped 5 families in there. One of them's a repeat customer, I call it that, client. We've helped Carmel Woods, Twin Lakes, those are the apartment complexes that see if there's any trends of things that are going on that who we've helped in those areas.
Thank you very much. We appreciate this.
Debbie, any comments? Next is an update on IT. Mr. Hensel?
As you know, in the IT building, they just had a meeting today. They're on track to be in for September, looks like. I talked to Jim from the IT director. He has interlocal agreement with the city attorney for Clay Township trustees office to convert over to the city IT. And once we get it, I'll get it to Mr. Bosman, have him review it and go over it, make sure it's to our liking as well as theirs. Everything's going well on the IT building side. There's a couple of hiccups they've had. One of them is they bored today where the roadway is because the roadway is very crumbling and stuff. So we're trying to get by with what's in the budget without us having to put in any extra money, but we'll find out here next week probably what we'll know on that one. On that also, we talked to the fire chief and stuff, and when we redo the drive, the fire trucks will stay on the north side of the property and use 108th Street as opposed to coming off 107th Street.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you, Paul. Financial questions from the board, are there any?
Mr. Bowen, we got one more on there. I'm sorry, I missed it on your agenda.
Sorry about that. Nope.
Event Center, MTS. I'm sorry, I didn't get to you. I'm going to let Mr. Bosman talk about that since he's been working on this more than anybody after baseball. We were presented with some negotiations that had transpired between the township and MTS as an event manager for the event space at the Fire Headquarters and Community Center. So we were moving rather smoothly on that, and then it came to light that our original agreement with the city, and I wanted to talk to the chief briefly after this for a moment, didn't anticipate the township having control of a portion of the building, really the third floor and then the outdoor upstairs. So it really threw all utilities onto the fire department, which we've got to figure out a solution to that. Probably have a restated lease agreement with the city in that regard. So we gave an updated management agreement to MTS, which I thought was probably going to be to their agreement, very different from the one they had submitted as a draft. Then we threw them this curve on the sharing in the utility expense. I guess yesterday, what's it? It was Monday. Is it because the discussions had happened at the administrative level between the city and the township last Thursday, Friday, something like that. So I feel like we're in a good spot. Weir's out of town. When he gets back into town at the end of the month, we'll move forward. But it provides for an annual event payment from them to the township. Starts at $25,000, then works its way up a little bit to the $35,000 zone over 5 years, and just puts all responsibility for scheduling on them. Got to still have to work out with the fire department the use of the Survive Alive space in the evening. That's another thing I'm just going to mention to the chief before he leaves here. So, but moving on, I thought I'd have a report that we've got something finalized tonight when I asked Paul to put it on the agenda, but we'll give you an update next time we're together.
Okay, very good. Thank you. No financial questions?
No financial
Nor
issues.
do I. Comments, Mary?
Yes, I do have some comments, and it involves the fire department. In the last couple of weeks, we have had to deal with something we never thought that we would. Barry and I found ourselves with no home because it burned. But the day that it did, we had absolutely wonderful, wonderful people from the fire department that came to help us. The chief was there, John Morty was there, and I don't know what we would have done without you. But what happened was it was the day of the terrible storm on the 29th, and we saw the storm coming, and we were putting things on our porch on the ground so they wouldn't tip over. And we saw the wind, the trees going this way and this way, and we said we better go in. So we go in, you close the door and think everything's fine. And with that, a tree came down. It got hit by lightning and hit our house and broke the power lines. Now, I'm not as good as talking about this as Barry is, but in essence, it really set our area as an alive. Am I saying this right, Chief? Everything on the house was alive. We, Barry and I were standing in the hallway and talking about. I said, I smell smoke. And he said, I don't smell it yet. And I said, I'm going to call the fire department. Luckily, they were on a run nearby, and they came right away to the house. But I stood there and saw the fire break through the wall. It scared me to death, but we knew that we were in trouble. The fire department came, put it out, and there was a man, the chief, the truck. There was a truck left to us or not. And they go around looking for hot spots. And we had hot spots, and it set two more fires in our house, which then at that time, we couldn't go back and we were at a loss. I mean, you just feel like you don't know what to do. And we have asked around the community and our friends if there were houses available to rent. Luckily, we found one, and that's been wonderful. But what is the most wonderful part of this issue? And the men that were there, it was a company. Am I right? Did I say that right? And I certainly want to defend them because that day was so tragic to us. We just had really no idea how to handle the devastation that had happened to our house and our lives. And it's all coming back. Thank
I'll echo that. Another example of why our fire department in Carmen is the best in the country. That's just not our opinion. It, year after year after year, um, the results are in, the ratings are in. There's people that live here, people from around the country, they know how good we are. And that's one reason why this community is so special. You know, the combination of the Parks Department, the Police Department, and the Fire Department make Carmel just the most livable city in America. Makes me very proud. Thank you for helping Mary, and thank you for everything you do day in and day out for our city.
you. I thank you.
Mr. Hansel, announcements?
Next meeting is September 19th. It'll be our pre-budget hearing. I'm working on that right now. No meeting in August. We are having the Township Association, Hamilton County Township Association luncheon August the 9th. We're having at the County Center at 12 o'clock. We, as board members, are invited to it. We're having gentlemen from the police department talk about the different types of bank accounts now that people use. Meaning, they don't use your traditional bank account, they use apps. How to drill down and find out what people spend money on and stuff. He's going to be here and talk to us about that. So it's going to be pretty educational on something like that. That's the only other information I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bosma, Debbie, any comments? Anybody else? All right. Well, we are adjourned. Well, may I have a motion?
I'm listening for a chair.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are adjourned. Thank you very much. Great meeting. See you in September.
Are we? Yeah.
Signed